Joining me today on the Mind and Body Active podcast is the brain, I should say, behind Mind and Body Active, Dr. Hank Liers. Doctor, how you doing today?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
Well, it's always great conversation when I get an opportunity to talk to you. You're so knowledgeable in so many areas, and I'm curious in so many areas about the things that we talk about. Um, I just want to, kind of give our viewers, give our listeners a little bit of background on you. You are a nuclear physicist.
I was trained.
Trained to be a nuclear physicist, and then you went into the health and field when your wife got sick. Can you give us a little short, brief synopsis of what took you in that direction and why you now still reside in that field?
Yeah, it was 1984, and my wife was rather ill, and every time she went to see a doctor, she got worse. And I'm the kind of person that when things don't work, I'm going to go and do something. So I made a commitment in 1984 that I was going to become her doctor, quote, it's not an MD doctor, but, and then I went on a program where probably I read a book on nutrition and health every single day for years. And I want to know every little detail. And of course, that includes books on the physical nutrition, the biochemistry, but it also includes things about mind and body and spirit. And then, the beliefs you have about who you are and what you can do and what you can't do and what you know, and often leads people to give up their responsibility to somebody else to take care of them. And you and I have discussed this.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I appreciated about you is you had an intensity and desire for knowledge, and you went after it. And that's the kind of thing that I like to see that people do, is kind of take responsibility. And there's a lot of work in doing that. But, and my job really is to be here to support you in that process and guide you and lead you. And together we grow wiser. And it's not me telling you what to do. I want you to really understand about health. So that's what I did for years. I just studied and started applying everything I learned, whether it's eating organic food or avoiding chemicals or, keeping a good attitude or, having a house that's not full of toxic chemicals, on and on and on. And in some way, what I did with my wife, we touched every aspect of living. In other words, every aspect. Whatever was in your house, what you put into your body, mentally, physically, emotionally, we looked at everything. And then what I started to do, because I started getting fairly knowledgeable in some of these areas, I started designing nutritional supplements that would support her because she couldn't take most of the things that were out there. And I used my physics training. I dig in and connected with all kinds of companies and found the best raw materials I could and read all the science studies about how you should combine them in the right dosing. And that's kind of got me going. So I started a company in 1988. So it's like 4 years later to share the knowledge and to share the supplements, but also to be able to design and build and have those available. So that's history.
Well, there's so much that we got to talk about, and you know what? At the end of the day, you and I are going to be doing quite a few of these podcasts over time. I mean, every single time that I have the pleasure of talking to you, there's something else that crops up. The 900-pound gorilla in the room right now, Dr. Hank, is the coronavirus, and how we are dealing with, this pandemic. You talked about the fear and how it suppresses the immune system. It robs us of, any real resiliency that we possess, because
Right.
when you live in fear, it kind of locks up, you're basically in a fight or flight response. And it locks up
That's right.
your body's natural ability to do what it needs to do, because you're either in the mode of, I'm going to run, or I've got to
Right.
stand and fight. And right
Right.
now, that fear is running rampant as far as the coronavirus is concerned. Please, tell our
Right.
audience, talk to our audience about this virus, and the reality of what it is, and how you see it as a physician.
Well, first of all, I have to say that I think a lot of the situation where people may have had problems with it, as you may know, is in older people. And there's a lot of comorbidities where maybe there's cancer and there's diabetes and other things associated with it, and the body's already weak. And this is why those people are most subjected to problems, with this kind of the virus. But my approach has been kind of this whole systems approach again. You don't just take one approach. All right, yes, we know the nutrients that strengthen your immune system and that have antiviral effects, things like vitamin D and vitamin C and vitamin E, vitamin A, and so on. Although I don't view, as you know, I don't view those as little drugs that you just take and going to fix everything. Because you're a system, you need 50 different nutrients in your body. And you need to get those in for your enzyme systems to work, and for your whole body to metabolize properly. So you do have a strong system, and you do detoxify, and everything is working correctly. So anyway, so that's one approach to take. It's back to the systems approach that I was telling you before. The mind, body, and spirit. You got to do all of them. You got to eat well, take supplements, live, make sure you're in a clean environment. Love yourself. It's like, do everything possible to kind of give your body the chance to function at its highest level. From what I've seen, from the data I've seen digging in, that, this virus is in many ways no worse and probably not even as bad as a flu. So, it's somehow we've got a societal problem associated with this.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, and it's a big problem where there's some people just want everyone to stay home and suffer, and others want to get going again and live and find ways, as we're talking right now, of how do you deal with it. All right. So that would be a response to your question there.
Right. Well, you know what? Also, as we approach the flu season again, we're talking about the flu, influenza, colds, um, additional viruses with new strains, a new strain of the coronavirus. I mean, we've got all of these things that we create,
Unfortunately.
even greater systemic fear over.
Right.
How do we deal with that? And we're dealing with these peripheral things right now,
Right.
but as we move into talking about the supplementation and the nutrients and all of those things, that make mind and body active products, the life tools that they will become. Um, how do we help people deal with, this new flu season, the fall season, the winter season that's about to approach? Because there are those out there that believe that, hey, this thing is about to get a lot worse than it's been.
I understand that. So I'll go back and say the same thing. You've got to take a total approach. a mind, body, spirit approach. Even be stronger on it than you might have normally, because take responsibility for yourself. But as you may know, in my process of developing nutritional supplements, for example, there's tremendous amount of research over the last 100 years. And, we know that we need to put in our body like 50 different nutrients, B vitamins and minerals and proteins and vitamin D and so on. And that's a requirement, right? And one of the things as a society that we've kind of gotten off the tracks, fast foods and junk foods and foods grown with pesticides, and they're all having a negative effect on us. So, I talk about taking the approach where you have a really good organic food diet that minimizes the toxins that you put in your body. If it's a natural diet, it maximizes the nutrients that you can get from food. And as you know, in today's world, we process a lot of those things out, so it makes it more difficult. You need to make sure your environment is clean. Pollution in the air, in the house, really affects your liver function and your whole body function and weakens your immune system. And then on top of that, I like this nutrition is a foundational program that we have that a lot of the things in the mind and body research arena are dealing with. It's like a multivitamin, for example, with 30 different nutrients, B vitamins and minerals and other cofactors that help your genetics work better, your enzyme systems work better in your body. And you need those things every day. Research has indicated. And a lot of people, just think, oh, I can take a little minimal amount. But that's not optimal. Optimal is to have good, solid nutrition. And so, I've developed this multivitamin that really gives you significant amounts of the things that ensures 24 hours a day, every day, you have what your body needs to function at that level, at the highest level possible. And for me, I'm always going after getting optimal functioning, not just enough so I don't get a disease. So you really got to pay attention to it, take adequate amounts of these things. Then there are other things like you can't get in a multivitamin essential fats, for example. Essential fats make up every cell membrane in your body, and they help to control what goes on in your cells. You got trillions of cells. And so, they're called essential fatty acids for a reason. Your body can't make them. You need to put them in. The kind of things that are found in fish and seeds and things of that sort. And you got to balance those. So that's part of the program. You don't just do one part of the program that maybe helps you in some ways. But again, looking at you as a system, I want to make sure every part of you is working correctly. And just think about if you have trillions of cells, and every cell needs to be communicating with your body every moment. Otherwise, you don't work. And it's a very big thought. It's an amazing, beautiful thing that God has given us. But again, we need to put all the things in the body, the essential fats, the minerals, the vitamins, to make sure that's happening properly. And so that was kind of the second part of the foundation that I've worked so diligently on, even including the special types of vitamin E in there to protect the fatty acids so they don't get oxidized. And, so it's kind of, you got to take this big picture again of how do you make the optimal supplement, all right, to protect, not only to get the nutrients in your body and in the right form, but to protect them so they don't get oxidized and damaged so they can't help you. So that's kind of, there's a product, Omega Plus E, that's coming that is meant for that. And there's another one that's it's what I call the vitamin C antioxidant connection. And that's in the multivitamin. When you really get challenged, your body needs tremendous amount of vitamin C and antioxidants.
Mhm.
So I've developed a product that Mind and Body calls Ultimate Armor that has, it's got good amount of vitamin C in it. And as you know, in this whole virus thing people are talking about, vitamin C is a key element in that really helps build your immune system and
Right.
blocks the viruses. Um, but then there are many plant-based antioxidants that you find in berries and herbs and all kinds of things that in themselves are antioxidants, but they have another really interesting feature. And this is part of, just understanding diet and food and how it helps you. But you have a system in your body where it's called the NRF2 activator system. But when you put plant antioxidants in, plant polyphenols in the body recognizes those and it actually goes into your genetics and it actually makes protective enzymes and antioxidants in your body. And so that's a really important part, as you may know, that every reaction in your human body requires an enzyme for it to work.
Right.
And and then there are coenzymes too, like you need to have minerals with it and so on. But optimizing your genetic function um, is really important for protection as well. That just makes your immune system stronger and it blocks um, free radical damage and that could weaken your immune system. So that's kind of the third level. Um, and then there are a couple other things. There's one that I love and I know you love. It's a superfood that I make. And we eat it all the time. But superfoods are foods that are highly nutritious. And if you combine them in the right way, um, they're just going to lift you beyond, most anything you would eat from a food basis. And one of the things that we've done in the products that the superfoods that Mind and Body will be distributing is use our ribonucleic acid, RNA. And there's tremendous amount of research that shows, first of all, understand that RNA is a protein that carries out the blueprint of who you are. And so you have the genetics in your DNA, and that's where the blueprint is.
Right.
But then you actually, using the genes and that enzyme systems, you make RNA, and RNA goes to every cell of your body. And that's the builder, and that's what makes you strong. And we've seen many, many, many people who are getting older, for example, or they're not doing well. When you can give them that kind of a superfood with all these super nutrition ingredients and RNA, you could turn a body around and start having it function at a high level rather quickly.
Right.
And it's amazing.
Well, I tell you what, Doc, the more I hear you talk, the more that I realize that Mind and Body Active is probably going to evolve into an educational system
That's right.
for people. Because the things that you talk about, if you don't know how the body works and you don't know how the body reacts to certain things, um, how are you supposed to be healthy?
Right.
There's minimal information out there unless you're an information seeker. And most of the time, what happens, as in the case with your wife, is not until you get sick or someone that you love gets sick
That's
that you
right.
begin to search these things out. For me, life is about total well-being.
Right.
I don't know how long the man upstairs is going to leave me here, but however long he's going to leave me here, I want to be able to function. I want to be able to do the things in life that I love to do. Um, and that's all about health and well-being. So as you talk about nutrient deficiency, in the foods and in, the things that we consume as a nation, as a world.
Right.
Um, you talked about the importance of supplementation, the importance of, minerals. I mean, people don't talk about that. All we talk about is, the nutrition and food. And we know that food today, especially fruit grown in the ground, does not carry the type of nutrients that it did, say, 50, 60, 70 years, ago. And then also, the bioavailability um, of, of the essence of what's in these nutrients and these supplements for our body and what that really means. As we wrap up, I know I said a mouthful, but I know that every time I talk to you, every single thing that I say, you hear, and you think about it and you have a response for it. So as we wrap up, talk to me about those 4 or 5 things that I just touched on and the importance of it, and also the importance of education and the
That's right.
importance of prevention before
That's right.
um, before people get sick.
Well, for me, it's a lifestyle that you have to learn about. And as I mentioned, and I think about this all the time, you need to take responsibility for yourself. People have to stop giving doctors, who don't know anything about nutrition, the responsibility. You fix me, give me a pill. And we have a mindset that's just kind of, to me, it's kind of, I can't understand that, how we ever got to the point where we would let people just try to give us pills to fix us. you
Mhm.
know, because life is so many aspects to it. And so for me, it's kind of developing a lifestyle um, where you understand, at least, at some top level, you need to take care of your nutrition. You need to take care of your environment. You need to take care of your mind. You need to take care of your spirit and blend those together. Um, and then I'm here to help you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to educate you, to provide you support along the way. And this is, as you point out, education is so important. To me, it's kind of some of the people that you're dealing with and when we talked, we had such a great conversation and people are just doing these things now and you're noticing the difference.
Right, right.
And if you remember what I told you, what I like so much about you is your intensity and your desire for learning and digging. And to me, it's like that's where it's at.
Mhm.
Because when you do that, you're going to learn. I'm here to help you. And I want you to have a lifestyle that is so wonderful and so healthful that, the good Lord keeps you around for a long time.
Right, right. Well, I think that my family history, health history, has motivated me more than anything to study and understand and search. I'm not one that really believes in predisposition, only to a certain extent, because I believe that to the
Right,
extent that I do things the way the past generations have done it, then I'm predisposed to the things
right.
that they were predisposed to. But if I change the way that I eat, if I change a sedentary lifestyle, if I supplement, if I get the right minerals, if my mind is in the right place, that it needs to be, then all of those things that past generations were predisposed to, those things aren't predisposed to me anymore because I'm not living my life that way.
That's right.
Um, and I think that, for Mind and Body Active, that's the message, is that until we can begin to evaluate past generations, then we can't make changes today. Because the old history is saying, for those who fail to observe history, it's bound to repeat itself. Well, that works for our health, that works for our wellness.
That's right.
And to me, it makes no sense that one generation sees the previous generation suffer, where there's information, knowledge, and wisdom for you to learn from what happened in the past so that you can, not only for yourself, but for future generations. I want to be healthy and well, not only for me, but I want to be able to pass it on to my kids so that they can pass it on to their kids, so that they can leave a productive and healthy life as well.
I want to pass it on to society. I dedicate my life to this. That's the most important thing that I can do while I'm here. You know, I have some gifts and I have desire, and what I've learned, for me, the most important thing to do is to share that and give it to other people so they can take kind of all grow together and function at a much higher level, um, happily.
Well, Doc, I tell you what, I think that we're moving in a time in this world where what you bring to the table is vitally important. I think people will begin to, look outside of traditional medicine to try to understand what it is that makes them healthy and what it is that makes them well and what it is that allows their mind to operate at optimal levels. And for you to be able to share your knowledge, share your story of what you did with your wife. It's a blessing to many. I am thrilled to be associated with Mind and Body Active, and I am looking forward to having more of these conversations in depth. About different things.
Sure.
I want to learn about minerals. I'm reading all the time, so I'm reading about different minerals. I'm reading about the power of sodium bicarbonate and magnesium chloride and
Yeah.
iodine and selenium. So, and I've got questions for you. It's just that we haven't had time to speak. My schedule's busy, your schedule's busy, but I want to know what you think about those things because those things are vitally important and people don't know about, the power of those minerals and how that can be life changing for them as well. Um, so I
Absolutely.
so I look forward to chatting with you again. Thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of Mind and Body Active, and I look forward to chatting with you again down the road.
And it's good to be with you. It's always a joy. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend.